I think I met one of your animators, or at least the son of an animator who worked for you guys.
What was his name?
I forgot his name, but he worked on Kung Fu Panda, who did that scene where Tai Lung is escaping.
Oh, well, definitely possible. A lot of people who work on animation and video games go back and forth into games for a while, then they go into movies, then they go back into games. They're extremely talented people, and they tend to get bored of one, so they move to the other for a while, then they get bored of that, and they go back. Um, they're animators are animators. They have a really good sense of motion, and they can take that motion wherever they go. I animated, by the way, Crash, the first one. Actually, all the Crash Bandicoots, I did the animation of the main character. And the first game I thought was pretty bad, but the other ones I think I got a lot better. It's all a learning process.
Same with me. Alright, here's my next question. What do you think of the Japanese, what they do with your Crash?
They definitely changed it a lot, and that was all done with our permission. I mean, we helped them with that. Different cultures have different tastes, and especially 15, 20 years ago, Japan had a very, very different way of looking at things than people in the United States did. And Crash was created by a bunch of Americans, and for a lot of the Japanese, he was too aggressive. He was too macho. It was too cool. They wanted something that was a lot cuter and cuddlier. So I remember, because Sony was a Japanese company, having long discussions with them about what was wrong with Crash. And we always insisted that we could make a character that worked in both territories. We just had to figure out what the worst things for the Japanese were and what the worst things for the Americans were, and get rid of them, and what was left would be a character we could use in both places. And, there were certain things like the shape of the head and the size of the smile that the Japanese just never really were comfortable with. So they never wanted to put that in their advertising materials. So you never see Crash do his giant kind of twisted grin in Japan, and you never see Crash do the really cute "wouldn't you love to hug me" in America. But it's still the same character. He just has different attitudes, I guess.
Cool. I heard that they made a manga book out of Crash, and I'm trying to find the book, but I can't seem to find it anywhere. Any ideas?
Yeah, it was Koro Koro Play, I think, was the magazine, and they had many issues of it come out, but it's this massive magazine. I mean, it's probably 1,000 pages, or at least 800 pages, and it comes out every few weeks. It's amazing how much publishing they do over there. And they don't really save it. There's so much of it that they don't really resell it. So some of it, I know some of it is available online, has been scanned. But I don't know that you could find it in like a book form or something.
What was it?
But it was called Koro Koro, so maybe that helps. Koro.
Cool, I'll have to check that out. So, what's your favorite Crash character?
I always loved Cortex. I always loved Dr. Cortex.
Of course.
I'm just looking Koro Koro and Crash really quickly to see if I can see if they have online somewhere. Yeah. Well, here's one page from it. So if you type in Koro Koro, Coro, and Crash, you'll get a couple of pages that they've scanned, certainly, that you can see. One thing that I definitely learned from making video games is if you want to make a hero character, you have to have a good villain. I think the same is true in comic books. What would Batman be without the Joker? Like, the Joker is very important because the Joker is everything that Batman isn't. So you can see who Batman isn't by looking at the Joker. And if you don't have a good mirror to contrast the main character, you don't tend to get that strength. And one of the weaknesses of Jak and Daxter, which was another game series that we did that I loved, but one of the weaknesses is most people can't name the bad guys because they were all very weak. So had we done a better job of defining who Jak wasn't, then I think we would have had a better character. And we never did that very well. We focused too much on the good guy. With Crash, we just managed to get it exactly right with Neocortex. He was just a great character. I always loved it.
So he was your all-time favorite Crash character?
Yeah, I think he was. You know, we had a lot of characters, but I really liked him. I really did like him. I don't know why. I mean, I liked Ripper Roo too. He was fun.
Yeah, he was pretty crazy.
But yeah, Cortex really was what, to me, Cortex made everything work. And the fact that all of the scientists were named N something, and the N always meant, you know, like nitrous oxide. It always had a, yeah, it was the fast guy, because, you know, nitrous oxide is something you put in your gas tank to make a car go faster. You inject it into the motor. So all the characters there had that N name. I always just loved that. Cool. You don't see that often. Somebody, you know, that was a moment of brilliance that we had. That everyone thought the N was for Nintendo, by the way, on his forehead, but no, it was for Neocortex because he had a huge brain.
Yeah, totally. Oh, when you were making Crash Team Racing, was Universal involved?
No. We left Universal. We had a 3-project deal with Universal. First of the projects was Crash, second was Crash 2, and the third one was Crash 3. And after that, we decided we didn't want to work for them anymore. And they owned the rights to Crash Bandicoot because that was our deal with them. So we went off and we started making Blockhead Racer. And remember, I said we always make block-headed games, and this was a racing game, and we thought we might be making new characters. So again, we started with the block-headed characters. And about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months into making the game, we went to Sony and we said, look, we have this racing game. You need a racing game. You don't have a good racing game. So remember, always fill those holes. And we'd love to make it a Crash game, but we don't have the rights to Crash. And Universal hasn't been very friendly to us. So here's our offer. We would love to make this game for you. And I think you would like it to be a Crash game because Crash and Sony are so close. So if you can figure out how to get the rights to Crash Bandicoot for this game, we'll make it a Crash game. And Sony went off and solved the problem. So that's how we ended up with Crash Team Racing.
So they help you get Crash back?
They helped us get Crash back for that game, that's right. They paid a lot of money to Universal for the rights to use Crash. But that wasn't going to keep working because Universal really didn't think that they needed Naughty Dog. They didn't think they needed us. They thought the character was more important than the developer. And obviously they were proven wrong because their next games were pretty bad. They didn't sell very well.
Yeah.
Which is too bad because, you know, I still really love Crash Bandicoot. It'd be nice to see something happen.
Well, I heard that it's going to different video game companies, and one of these days, once I own my own video game studio, I hope to be one of those companies and make a good game of Crash and fix them up.
Well, it certainly can happen. Right now, Activision is the owner. And I've spent a decent amount of time trying to get Activision to do a game, but I think they want to do a game, a Skylanders toy game, which I don't know if you know Skylanders, but it's the game they brought out with Spyro. And I would imagine that probably will happen, but I don't know that, you know, that's something that I necessarily want to work on. We definitely, Activision is a real game company, and they're very smart and very good people, and I know them very well. So I think Crash is in a good position right now if they can decide what they want to do. Universal wasn't the wisest. They were very cheap, whereas Activision makes great games. So hopefully they'll do something good with Crash. And yeah,
hey Jason,
maybe you will be able to work on it. Yeah.
Hey Jason, one more question.
Sure.
You good on tape? Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Okay. Actually, this pretty much answers this question. What do you think of the new Crash games?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Yes! We shower them good! Right in the eyes! I'll be good! I promise! I'll be good!
Yeah, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Okay, what came from the idea of Jak and Daxter? It seems like you put a lot of things in there.
Yeah, Jak and Daxter was entirely done by Naughty Dog. So that was, unlike Crash, we designed him ourselves. And, you know, that was, all video game teams are very open. So it tends to be a lot of people with a lot of ideas. And it's hard to say who really creates them. I mean, I was certainly in charge of doing it, but there were little bits of Jack and Daxter that I had nothing to do with that somebody else would say, you know what we should do? We should do X, whatever it is. And somebody would say, oh, that's a great idea. And that would become part of the character. So it's hard to say who the creator is of these things, but certainly I was dominant at the company, and a lot of my decisions, for better or worse, were taken. I think I made good ones, and I think I made some bad ones, but yeah, it was a collaborative process for everybody in the company.
I definitely enjoyed the first one, and the others too.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know this, but they just came out in HD version, which means that you can play them at 720p on the PlayStation, and they look much better because the resolution's so much better. They've been remastered. Sony just came out with them, so those are available, and it looks really good, and it's held up. You know, it doesn't look like Call of Duty or God of War or Gears of War or whatever, but they're still great games, and they're a lot of fun, and people I'm getting a lot of great comments on Twitter from people who are playing it and saying, man, I really love those games when I was younger.
Cool, I'll have to buy that someday. Well, why does Jack's characters look similar to Crash's characters?
Do you think they're similar?
Yeah, like the Komodo brothers look a little similar to the guys from the Mining Chef and the Red Sage's lab.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I think if you find a bunch of people and you put them together, they're going to have a style. And I think, if anything, the style of Jack and Daxter, because it was the same people, is similar to the style of Crash Bandicoot. Not because we tried, but just because, you know, it's in our nature to draw things and do things in a certain way, and there was the same people working on both. Although certainly the talent is there to do something different, because Uncharted is a completely different looking game, and that was mostly the same people.